Hi guys, it's Haley and welcome back to my channel today. As you can see by the title of this video, I will be discussing one of the famous cases in New Orleans, and that is the Carter brothers. And if you don't know who the Carter brothers is, it's basically a vampire folklore story that people said either happened or didn't happen around New Orleans, and this had taken place in 1932 mainly. So before I get started in today's video, let me know in the comments below if you have any other vampire story from New Orleans that you want me to cover, whether that be the casket goes or that be Jacque Saint Germain. Just let me know down below in the comments. Sorry for my coughing. I don't know, but I'm taking medication for it. But let me know below in the comments. Also, like this video and also subscribe. Turn on bell notifications. And y'all can still comment because I managed to fix it. So, y'all can still do the commenting and stuff. Just let me know below in the comments what you want to see next. And let's get started. Well, around in 1932, this girl was running down this building in New Orleans, screaming, terrified. She kind of looked like, I'm not going to get into more detail about it because it's kind of silly. She looked like she was sort of injured, but not that badly. And the police actually got to this girl, and she described to them how she believed these two brothers, aka the Carter brothers, were vampires because they were killing people and how they were doing it. Basically, she says she managed to escape when they were both not looking, and that when they were busy with handling their other victims. She basically said that these two brothers got to her, they took her to their apartment, took her inside, and then tied her up onto a chair, and then they put this needle in her. They basically put this needle in, and they tried to get some blood out of her. And according to her eyes and vision, she claims that they've been doing this to other people because when she went into a room, she saw these other victims that were being drained of their blood that the brothers would use. They would keep doing that, get their blood, and then they would obviously drink it in some type of glass. But even though she escaped, she's still telling the police about this, which is taking a while because they're trying to wonder if this actually happened or not, based on her story and stuff. Somehow the police remained skeptical by this story because they didn't want to believe it. And because, probably she didn't have proof or anything. Like I said, she wasn't in that bad of a shape, but she kept telling them, while she kept telling them this, even though she escaped, the brothers kept doing this to every single person they could find. They would bring them back up to their apartment. They would tie them up onto a chair or something. They would stick a needle, almost like a blood drive, almost like how you're donating blood, like a blood drive. That is exactly how it was, basically. So they would keep doing this for maybe a couple of days or weeks, and then the police actually found evidence of this. Because they've been noticing some people going missing, and if they might as well look into this case that the girl said happened. So they go to the Carter's apartment, they check it out, and they know it's they see the bodies. Apparently the body, they saw the bodies, because once they got there, they saw half dead that was tied in the chairs in the rooms, and they saw 4 other victims that had been drained of blood. They saw that, and so the police had the evidence, so they arrested they arrested the Carter brothers. They arrested both of them. And then they took them. They were trying to see why they did this, because they were suspecting a serial killer vibe situation. But they told them that they explained that they had no option but to continue to kill because they believed they needed the blood to continue living, which in this case they believed for themselves. They told the police that they were vampires. They told the police that they were vampires. But the police did not know what to make of this because obviously it's vampires and maybe they didn't want to believe it. And they just thought they were just some crazy serial killers that probably believed that they were vampires. And so they tried them. They were sentenced to death because of how brutal the crime scene was and how they committed these terrible acts. So they executed them. I think it was by hanging. I think they hanged them or something. But they executed them. And then here's where it gets weird. Once the Carter brothers are executed, they basically buried in this certain part of the cemetery, like the New Orleans cemetery. And when they are buried, they are actually dead. They're actually dead. But one night, like I guess a worker for the cemetery or someone close by was coming by, and when they looked over, they saw that the Carter brothers' grave was like broken into, or was like the caskets where they were buried, the bodies were gone. So like obviously first the person thought maybe it was a grave robbery or something, or for a dumb, but even though like it may have seemed a dumb conclusion at the time, they thought that the Carter brothers were still alive, even though they were executed. Because the bodies weren't found in a way like how the gravesite was broken into or whatever. Their bodies were never seen again. Like, no one knows. Even the police don't know what happened to their bodies. But people suspect in around New Orleans that the Carter brothers were actually vampires. They were telling the truth. Because it all points, because if they were drinking blood, which what they were doing, and they claimed they were vampires, it proves that, like, they were telling the truth, because, like, the bodies were gone, so people around New Orleans now suspect that they are vampires, and mainly because even to this day, like I said, this incident happened, like, in 1932, but even to this day, people claim to still see the Carter brothers roaming through New Orleans. Like, not all the time, but there's been some eyewitnesses reports that they claim that they have seen them, like the Carter brothers, actually roaming around New Orleans. And if that is true, then that could really basically prove that they're vampires, because you got how they were killing their victims, what they were trying to confess to, that they kept saying they were vampires. They were executed, but apparently if they have been seen, they're not dead, and they got out of their graves. Like, their bodies are missing in their graves, and then they're being seen by these eyewitnesses, even to this day, even to this century, even though this took place in 1932. But, so that could all prove that they were right, that they're actually vampires. I mean, it really depends where this story came from, if there's actually fact into it, or it's just like an urban legend, or if it's just like a part of a tourist attraction. But either way, it's still mysterious, because if they were executed, but people are still seeing them, then maybe they were right. And plus, they were drinking blood. Maybe they were right, because obviously without, like, if people didn't see them, or if their bodies haven't gone missing, maybe one could assume maybe they were cannibals, or maybe it was part of a sadistic ritual or cult or something. But with their bodies not being found and people still seeing them, that makes you wonder if they were actually like vampires. Now, for me, I don't know about this story. Like, I mean, this is one of the stories that I'm very interested in. Like, if this actually happened or not. Even if it didn't, even if this story never existed, there's plenty of other stories in New Orleans. And the only one, I mean, there's other ones, but the more one I can see maybe actually happened was Jacques Saint Germain. So if you guys want me to do another video on the other vampires in New Orleans, which is the casket girls, and or Jacques Saint Germain, the French guy that apparently is still being seen around today. Because that's what people are claiming to see. If you want one of those, like if you want those videos to come out too, because I'll do the casket girls and Jacques Saint Germain, and just let me know down below in the comments which I fixed, so you can just type in the comments. But with the Carter brothers, that's an interesting mystery. Now it has more details into the story that I may or may not have gone wrong, but I know like what I said it sounds pretty right. I mean, that's the short version. I'll get to it. That's the short version. But if I like talked about the whole version, this would probably been a like 15-minute video. But like, I just bugging it down so y'all can understand who the Carter brothers were and why people think they're actually vampires still in New Orleans. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. I apologize for coughing today. I'm just, because like I said, I had COVID a couple weeks ago, and this is just one of the symptoms I guess I'm trying to still get over. But I don't have COVID anymore, but you know. But yeah, if you guys want to see more videos like this, see a video on the casket girls or Jacques Saint Germain, then let me know down below in the comments. I will also post on my Instagram and Snapchat what you guys want to see. If y'all guys want to see those two other vampire videos that are in New Orleans. And make sure to like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and feel free to share this video with your friends. Feel very free. And I hope you all have an amazing day today, and I hope you enjoyed the story.